All right. Now, let's go back to Genesis.
Genesis 3 and 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman.
Right. So like I said, enmity, you look it up, it means a condition of hostility or hatred. So the Lord said, I will put hatred between you, white man, because he's speaking to the so-called white man at that time. All right. In the form of Cain.
And the woman.
And the woman.
Which is Israel. It says...
because later, the scripture says the serpent, but later that serpent, the descendant from that serpent, which was like I said, which was a so-called white man back then, which they had pigment back then. This is before the Most High stripped them from their pigment. They would later be known as Cain, then later be known as Esau, then later be known as Edom. And Edom today is a so-called white man. All right? That's their true biblical nationality. Go on.
And between thy seed and her seed.
Right. I will put enmity between hatred between thee and the woman, meaning Israel. So no matter what, no matter if you put Obama up in there, no matter if you try to mend the difference between the so-called black man and the so-called white man, it's not going to happen. Because the Most High said, I will put enmity or a condition of hostility or hatred between you, so-called white people, and so-called black man, so-called Puerto Rican man, so-called West Indian man, which are the Israelites. So we're never going to come together. That's what the scripture is saying. And then in the book of Proverbs 11 and 21, it says, though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Yeah. So this ideology you have of bringing everybody together, especially the so-called black man with the so-called white man, is not going to happen.
Right.
Go on.
And between thy seed
and between your seed. So wait a minute, the serpent had a seed. The serpent had a seed. Who is that seed? As you read on, that would be Cain.
Yep.
And then Cain had Lamech. Right?
Enoch.
Lamech was the son of Cain.
Yep.
And then Lamech had two wives. Right?
Yep.
Which Lamech, from those two wives, brought forth children. I think one of them was Irad, the other one was Mehujael. Yep. That's the seed of the serpent.
Right.
Which later became known as Edom, which Esau, which later became known as Edom. That's the seed of the serpent.
Right.
All right? And her seed. Go on.
And her seed.
And her seed meaning Israel, the seed of Israel.
Can I read this real quick?
Yeah.
This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 38. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom.
Right. The good seed. Wait a minute. Let's go to it. Matthew 13
and 38.
Matthew 13 and 38. Go on.
The field is the world.
Right, the field is the world. Go on.
The good seed are the children of the kingdom.
Right, the children of the kingdom are the Israelites. They're the good seed. Go on.
But the tares are the children of the wicked one.
Right, the tares are the children of the wicked one, which is who? The so-called white man, the devil.
Yep.
Again, the wicked.
Right, because when you read back in Genesis 3, a woman does not have seed.
Exactly.
I don't give a damn what these stupid ass morons, these dummies from the Roman Catholic Church, these Jesuit trained assholes try to teach you. A woman does not have seed.
Right.
And that scripture in Genesis 3 and 15 is not talking about an actual woman. It ain't talking about Eve.
Right.
It's a prophetic scripture about Jacob and Esau.
Right. It's an allegory. It's a proverb. It's
symbolic.
Right. Go on.
It says, and I will put Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman.
That's the word I was looking for. It's a parable.
Parable, yeah.
Right. It's a allegory. It's a parable. That word woman there represents Israel. Go on.
And between thy seed and her seed.
Right.
It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
Right, because when they read that, they think it's an actual woman, and according to that, the woman had seed. So they use that to justify Mary.
That virgin birth.
Yeah, the virgin birth crap.
Bullshit.
But had they known that the word woman actually means Israel, and we just proved it in the book of Jeremiah, the 6th chapter and the 2nd verse. The Lord compares Israel to his woman.
Right, and the woman that has ovum or ovaries, which is the eggs.
Right, again, when you go to the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, is it the 12th chapter where it speaks about the woman with a crown of 12 stars on her head?
Yep.
That represents who? That represents Israel.
Right. I ain't talking about Mary.
Exactly. All right, now, it says, between thy seed and her seed, it shall what?
It shall bruise thy head.
It shall bruise thy head, which goes back to the head being the Roman Empire, which the head was bruised by who? Septimius Severus. All right, Septimius Severus was an Israelite that bruised the head of the Roman Empire, which was around 324. That was 193. I'm sorry, 193 AD. All right, and then 324 AD, the Holy Roman Empire was set up by the Israelites.
Right.
That's when the head of this devil was bruised. If we go to Revelation
13.
Yeah, let's go to Revelation 13. Revelation 13.
Revelation 13 and about 3 or 4. Matter of fact, the point is in 3. I don't know if you want to read about that.
Read the third verse.
Revelation 13 and 3. And I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death.
Right, one of his heads, which that goes back to the beast, which had the 7 heads
10 horns.
and 10 horns. Now, the 7 heads being the Greeks, the Romans. In this case, we're looking at what? The Roman Empire,
Right.
which was one of his heads. All right? Before the Roman Empire came into existence, you had the Greeks that was ruling.
Right.
Then out of the Greeks came another head which became known as the Roman Empire. And out of all the 7 heads, the strongest empire was the Roman Empire. All right? The Roman Empire was a lot stronger than the Greeks. And ruled a lot longer too. Because we're still in the Roman Empire.
Right.
All right? We're just in the last leg of the Roman Empire. Go on, I saw.
And I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed.
Right, as it were wounded to death, and like I said, 193 AD, the Lord raised up Septimius Severus, which the word Septimius means 7, and Severus from the Latin sever, which means to cut. Cutter of the 7. Going back to what? The 7 heads. One of the heads being what? The Roman Empire. Go on.
And his deadly wound was healed.
Right, now the deadly wound was healed. Go back to 1453, about there.
That's when they came back into power.
Right, that's when they came back into power underneath Rodrigo Borgia,
Right.
his title was Pope Alexander VI of Rome.
Right.
That's when their deadly wound was healed.
It was fully healed then. They started falling like around 1325
Yep.
through the bubonic and the pneumonic plague.
Right, that aided the
Right.
deadly wound, their deadly wound to be healed.
That set it up, yep.
The Lord had to take out 2/3 of our nation.
So that Esau could take it, because they're weak.
Exactly.
Fucking devils.
So the Lord had to help these devils come into back into power.
To fulfill this prophecy.
To fulfill our prophecy. And these devils know that. They know that it was called the Black Death because it affected so-called black people. All right? Go on.
And all the world wondered after the beast.
Right, and we're in that time now where the whole world is wondering after the beast. All right?
Following after the so-called white man like he's the Most High.
Right, they're all selling out to his New World Order. All right? So, back in Genesis.
3.
Yep, Genesis 3.
Go to the 16 or
Yeah.
15 again.
Read the latter part of 15. It shall.
Alright. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt... Sorry.
Right, so you got the example of that. It shall bruise thy head. The head being the Roman Empire. We showed you that in the book of Revelation. Matter of fact, let's go to Revelation, was it 20? Real quick. Because that further expounds on it. Revelation 20.